Mauvavi.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Robin. And thank you so much to the Pacific Northwest Body Talk Association for hosting this and inviting me to be part of your community. I am so excited to see that you guys are organizing in this way. I've been involved with Body Talk for a really long time, and really at the bottom line know that it is these kind of groups and this kind of community support and this kind of conversation within our professional frameworks that is such a nourishing support system for your business locally, but also even just with the dawn of working online and our capacity to reach far and wide through the globe with the interwebs. These kind of things are just so profound, and so much can come out of them. So kudos to you guys for creating this space together to grow, develop, learn, and evolve the way that you bring body talk to the world. Yeah, so good work, guys. So yeah, like Robin said, my name's Elzabieta. You can call me Elza. I've been involved with Body Talk for more than half of my life. I had my first Body Talk session when I was barely 17, and I'm 41 now. So I've kind of met the mark of having more Body Talk in my life than, other things. And it's been such a powerful resource for me to express myself entrepreneurially, not only within my body talk practice, but within the way that I create in the world and all of the amazing, wonderful things that I have been able to accomplish and experience through my life. Body talk has really been at the underpinning of that. Whether it's been through the psychological, physical, emotional, and spiritual support that it has supported me to be in alignment, or the capacity for me to use this system to really combat burnout, to be creative, to follow my bliss and allow more of me to come forward. So I just can't speak more about how profound and powerful this work is. And I think what I wanted to talk to you guys today about is kind of a strategy around the concept of client education and engagement through content education. But at the bottom line, and I was sitting in kind of thinking about what would be my best contribution to sharing my wisdom of being part of this system for so many years and imagining my business within this system for so many years, is really be yourself, really use your tools, really use the templates and the frameworks of the way that Body Talk influences your own homeostasis, vibrational excellence, and capacity to share that work in whatever way you imagine or choose it to be. So I want to talk today a little bit about, just share with you a little bit about my background and my journey in sharing Body Talk, go into the importance of client education in our Body Talk practices, and talk a little bit more about what is content education or client education. And then I wanted to share with you also a upcoming mentorship for practitioners that I have created through the lens of Body Talk Access, and how Body Talk Access has really been at the underpinning of so many iterations through the last 2.5 decades that I've had Body Talk as part of my world, of my own self journey, and how that has informed the different evolutions of my business. So I have been working on this process of creating mentorship templates for practitioners for the last couple of years, kind of in a sabbatical from teaching. I've been teaching Body Talk for many, many years, and just really wanted to get aligned with how I share my teaching with the larger community, and have been really called to work with practitioners through mentorship opportunities. And that came out of a recent experience that I had having, I have a 2-year-old, and I had a really difficult pregnancy with him. I also have a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old. So I have teenagers and toddlers, which is a very unique equation to manage personally as also a business owner and an entrepreneur. And really at the end of the day, it was Body Talk Access that saved me from the deep hole of physical, mental, and emotional chaos that I would say that my body slipped into through my pregnancy, through having a later pregnancy, being a little bit older, I really had to pull out all my tools, and I really had to step back from everything that I do and find alignment and find a new imagination of the way that I carry myself physically and the way that I want to continue to share, these many, many years of wisdom that I've gained through being part of the BodyTalk system. So through my postpartum journey over the last 2 years, utilizing the BodyTalk Access system for myself personally, really kind of created this creative template for how we can use BodyTalk Access as a framework and lens for practitioner excellence, and also how BodyTalk Access is a template for client education, as well as increased client results if we can get people to take access. And so kind of like the juxtaposing of how at the end of the day, all of this comes down to business development, personal development, our personal excellence and success in our work as BodyTalk practitioners is really about the microcosm of what's going on within us, as well as how that fits into the macrocosm of the alignment of what we create through our businesses and through the work that we express. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit about how all of this might make sense for some practical ways that you might be able to use this information right away in your practice. Does anybody have any questions about that? Or is it okay if we do questions within the context of the presentation? Or
yeah, whatever works for you. Sure. Yeah.
cool. Any questions before I keep moving on, guys? We good? Okay, so I just wanted to share a little bit about my background in business with BodyTalk, the different strategies that I have approached, and really just getting to the place where we can all recognize, and hopefully this can inspire you guys, that it's really the journey within our own healing, our own process, and our own growth in our businesses that informs the expression of what our business templates look like. So I started my work in community health, working with nonprofit organizations, working with jails, halfway houses, treatment facilities, at-risk youth, all kinds of individuals who maybe would not traditionally have access to BodyTalk. Within that, I worked at a very high volume and had a very interesting context that allowed me to kind of like cut my teeth, so to speak, as a BodyTalk practitioner, and get actually really good at meeting people where they are and fulfilling the hunger I had as a practitioner to keep learning, and as a student of consciousness in the human form and the larger BodyTalk system, and how I could best be of service. That really created a space of alignment for me to not only, like I said, cut my teeth and grow and learn, but it allowed me to be of service, which was at the heart of where I was at that point in my life, and provided me just such a profound about 10 years, 10 to almost like 15 years, I did full-time work within community. Gave me a capacity to get really good at what I do. That allowed me to create a model for community affordable clinics that essentially created a template for me to serve a high volume of individuals in a small amount of time, which allowed me to get really good at intake, to get really good at using muscle checking during intake, to get to the point and to motivate and to interview my clients in a way that we could kind of get to the gist of what was going on, and then really kind of meeting people where they are, to be of service in a way that made sense to the client who might not have as much information on the paradigm shifting potential and, wild layers and realms that BodyTalk can go into. So really kind of like working with the core group of general public, and being able to develop my own voice and communication patterns to talk to people about what we were experiencing in the sessions and witnessing in the sessions in a way that made sense to them. So one of the things I've always seen with body talkers is they talk in body talk language to their clients or to the public. And I encourage you not to do that, because it goes over people's heads. They haven't trained in body talk. And it's really our job to translate some of these more complex languages or concepts into something that makes sense to people, right? So that process for me in working in a high volume, working with people who didn't really have a context or paradigm, really forced me to build communication templates that would make sense to people talking about stress, talking about tension in the body versus saying we're regulating the brain stress response and your, process of how your brain has adapted. Like that doesn't make sense for people, right? So how do we simplify our communication and really talk to people at the level at which they need to, hear, right? So from there, these community affordable clinics then developed into teaching clinics that I could provide mentorship and opportunities for my students to be observed in providing a really good service and getting their hours and actually beginning to cut their teeth in how to be really good practitioners. From there, I have always had a background in media, but it was really a question for me as this idea of the language and how we communicate about body talk and how to be best of service in how we language this work to get it to a broader public, where I started asking the question of, what is the best way to communicate about body talk? And I essentially manifested myself a role in media production through hosting for 10 years a FM-based radio program that I used as a template to begin to have really high level and basic level conversations about the paradigm that we are working in within Body Talk. So I got a laundry list of probably 100 people that I wanted to interview. Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, like all the whoop-de-woos and the whoop-de-woos that are, in the realm of like this paradigm shifting reality that we work within, and then grounding it into what I called Wellness Wednesdays, conversations that were for practical wellness that would help people, not only my clients that I could send the recordings to, but also the general public that I was reaching on the FM radio, to start to embrace the paradigm of what we do. Because I got really clear through this work that I was doing that it's a lot of times really about the great work of supporting the paradigm shift so that we can normalize some of the potentials of the type of work that we do within, our clinical practices, within our teaching, or within the broader conversation of, community accepting the potential that there's actually possibility for this type of healing. And it's been interesting for me because 20 some years later, people are at a different paradigm and readiness than they were when I first started Body Talk. And I think it is the conversation, and it is bringing that conversation to community that is a profound way of, supporting our practices and supporting people's readiness and willingness to get involved with this type of work. From there, I learned to teach Body Talk Access. I went into working with institutions and public health. I went into private practice, and then I went into teaching fundamentals, which then evolved to specialized practice in my private work, group work, and then essentially informing and supporting all of these other efforts from my career in media to podcast creation to digital media to martial arts training to working with children to qigong to all the things that wanted to come forth out of me through really just having this commitment to using Body Talk for myself on a day-to-day basis and playing in the realm of how I work in my practice. So all of this over the last 20 plus years has kind of been my roadmap that has brought me to some of the conclusions that I've come up with that are working for me currently to support this next iteration or evolution of, my Body Talk business. And what's come out of that is a current project that I created that is centered around this concept of content education and templates for client education through the lens of access and meeting people where they are based on their needs based on their needs for maintaining resilience and homeostasis within. So centering this project has basically I created a podcast that I say features all the Body Talk greats. It's called Body Talk Your Brain. And the intention behind this was to interview instructors from across the globe about the basic concepts of body talk access that would be framed in a conversation that clients or students or interested individuals seeking healthcare or seeking alternative ways to sharpen their skills as practitioners could hear about the frameworks that we teach in Body Talk that we teach particularly in Body Talk Access that are the underpinning for resilience, homeostasis, and self-responsibility and self-empowerment of healing. So I created a 12-episode podcast series with, again, instructors from all over the globe because I didn't want it to be about me. It wasn't like the Elza show. It's like we have a group of phenomenally amazing colleagues within the context of our Body Talk community internationally that have amazing experience and stories and expressions to share regarding the brilliance and the magic of this work. And I really wanted to open that conversation up with these other professionals to target the public, because one of the things I've seen so many times in my years in Body Talk is that we're not having the conversation with the public, we're having the conversation within the Body Talk matrix. And I call it, even in martial arts, one of my teachers, it's like if we keep doing the same thing and having the same conversation together as a matrix, we're like inbreeding the concepts and just kind of like massaging the mental spaces, which is great for practitioner development, which is great for community support. But really, what is the message that brings this brilliance out to a context and a framework that the public can hear, that isn't in Body Talk language, but iterates the concepts that we're working within. And so the purpose of this podcast was essentially to use it as a marketing tool that other practitioners, other instructors could be able to have access to not only share with their communities, but also share with their clients based on where they're at in treatment. So for example, say you have a client that's coming in and consistently having to work with switching, consistently working with specific triggers around switching, and being able to have a way to say, okay, Jane, switching comes up a lot in your sessions. This is really about the regulation of the brain stress response. If you're interested in learning more about how this might be working on you or the bigger picture of your own healing and unfolding, here's a podcast you can listen to with Tracy Clark, who's an amazing Body Talk instructor who teaches about switching and the stress response. So a simple asset that you guys as practitioners or other instructors could have that was framed in a conversation that could meet the needs of anyone who was listening, who was intrigued by Body Talk. From there, that podcast grew into a series of blogs that are framed around the same concept, that were written for the purpose of just sharing the templates and the context. And so as I created this kind of like media framework for Body Talkers to use as outreach, I started asking myself the question of, what do practitioners need to be able to have a good communication template and way to like use this kind of information and share with their clients what's happening within the sessions, what we're observing, and what were the tools, the podcast or the blogs or conversations, even like this, that could help clients open up to that paradigm shifting reality. So from there, I created this mentorship and ethics framework that really at the bottom line gets to what does it mean to be your best self, be who you are, do it, and actually be not afraid to do it and do it well. And then within that, when we wake that up within ourselves, we have the capacity to witness the best in clients through this neutral lens and what wants to come forth as an expression of health and the way that we can best support that phase transition for clients. So there's this microcosm, macrocosms. Like for me, the key to business success is communicating with your clients, sharing with them the big picture of the paradigm shift so that they can observe the subtleties of what's changing within them, and then committing to being your best and having your best dialed in homeostasis, spiritual mental and emotional vibrational container continuing to evolve so that your clients can continue to evolve. So I created this mentorships and ethics framework to support practitioners to really take a deep dive look in to the access template as a way of lining up vibrationally within ourselves to line up vibrationally with the type of work that we want to do. And then having a way to essentially support practitioners with this content bank of educational information from all of the greats of Body Talk across the globe that they can use as assets within their practice. So working with sharing the blog, sharing the podcast, sharing marketing materials. And then from there, I created what I think is a very interesting template for myself and other instructors to start working with, an affiliate model for coordinators and practitioners to become coordinators and share messages. So instead of thinking of the traditional, like one coordinator being responsible for building a whole class, what happens when a bunch of practitioners who are messengers that are in the system, that are engaged in this work day in and day out, have access to simple marketing resources and tools and commission-based incentives to be able to share the work with their network and bring back in students for us as instructors. So this nice kind of like win-win situation where that commission is nice and generous. They are provided with a, media kit to share information. And then, if somebody signs up under their affiliate link, boom, they get a commission. So what a revolutionary way to think about like growing the business as instructors of like, instead of having one coordinator, what happens when you have 10 great practitioners that you work with or that have been your students and want to be that messenger? And you can, through these wonderful digital marketing, digital media, frameworks, have a simple way to be able to spread that burden of work of getting the students' butts in the seats, so to speak, from a business standpoint, to a group of people versus just one centralized coordinator. So that's kind of the current product or project, I should say, that I've been working on. And I'm really at a point right now of scaling this to be emphasizing a way that this can be an open source framework for other practitioners and other instructors to incentivize the sharing and the messaging of promoting this work outside of just our own internal networks. So I will be offering a program specifically for practitioners and instructors that would want to work in this kind of way, and looking at the program as a template for self-discovery and alignment with your own awareness and the awareness of how that would express into your business, and then giving people access to these media assets to help them with that message. And, we don't have to all recreate the wheel if we have a really good product that features all of the instructors speaking these things into the world through these different multimedia templates. So I think Robin has the information about that. It's essentially going to be a 6-week or a weekend program that is going to explore essentially the access framework as a really deep dive into the access techniques, which basically what I've created is adjunct material, like hours and hours of other recordings and information that is insights and research from my many years of practice in the application of the clinical setting in working with these 5 powerful techniques, and how additionally those techniques have helped me on my own entrepreneurial journey, like my process of using cortices to align masculine and feminine to look at where do I need to receive more in my business? Where do I need to actually act on certain things? And how can I be in alignment with not spinning my wheels and wasting my time on things that don't make balance for me? So before I do anything, it's like get in alignment. And then when you do something from alignment, you have much more success in the ability to create something that is actually going to work, if that makes sense. So on the other side of that, just kind of tangible, I've created like 4 or 5 different lectures that go with each of the techniques that we don't have time to teach in fundamentals, the deep dives. We don't have time certainly to teach it in access, the deep dives. So this is also a practitioner development for learning how to apply these techniques. We actually started today talking about reciprocals, like, oh, I don't like working with reciprocals. It's like I touch the point and but it's like, well, maybe you don't actually know about all the magic that reciprocals can provide. And so as practitioners, how can we keep evolving our understanding of holding space and what we're focusing on? So there's this component with this mentorship of deep diving. And then once we deep dive within ourselves and get more clear about the potential of the base framework of this brilliant system of access that John created for homeostasis, that's going to engender more alignment into how we express ourselves in our work. And so I have this other side of like personal growth, spiritual growth, and business development through this lens of access that are simple exercises and frameworks that you can use for yourself to really create flow, hydration, to create the movement in the right direction, reciprocals, to make sure that you versus others, immune system balancing, is in alignment, right? So there's kind of like this internal microcosm, external macrocosm of what do you get to create when you have homeostasis. So if you guys are interested in that, please let me know. Robin's going to send you the landing page for that. And I think it's going to be an interesting journey to kind of explore. And one of the bigger pictures for me is rekindling the front door of Body Talk Access as the front door to our whole system. It's the space where families can come in. It's the space where new professionals can come in. It's the space where individuals can come in, artists, like anyone can come in that front door, and they may evolve into, more work like all of us have evolved, probably got into Body Talk because we had Body Talk sessions, right? And so that front door, I think, sometimes like fundamentals instructors, or even, practitioners like, well, I took fundamentals, like I don't need access. But if you could actually rewind back to the basics and really honor what John was getting at with the power of the access system, I think there's a lot we could be doing with that to boost the system, but also to boost our businesses. So that's my little spiel about kind of like where I'm interested in guiding practitioners in business development. And my main thing is you have the tools already. You got Body Talk Access. If you got Mindscape, use it. If you got Matrix Dynamics, use those things to build your business and stay in alignment with your own core evolution and vibrational excellence. And as long as you're willing to put some energy out there from that space, your business will be successful, because that's what this unfolding energy is really all about. So I wanted to just kind of share my concept of philosophy and the importance and the value of like homeostasis for us, homeostasis as a treatment strategy, and then the context of homeostasis in supporting resilience in client sessions, and how right now, 2025, we are in this incredibly special time in history for us as Body Talk practitioners with the dawn of telemedicine, online teaching, the dynamic issues we are facing socially, globally, individually. We are literally in the makings of a renaissance. So here we are as Body Talk practitioners or instructors with some amazing tools. And how do we really focus on the fact that, we need resilience in these changing times, and our clients need something they can do on a daily basis to dial in resilience as well. So simply starting with sharing cortices with your clients is one super simple strategy. I know you guys are probably already all doing that. I created a little micro mini course that teaches the Body Talk cortices and gives a little science and philosophy. And then I also created a binaural beats kind of like guided meditation, like vibey little cortices video that's like another asset that I hope people can share with people that maybe kind of reaches out to younger people or individuals that are, kind of don't want to go into the whole science and just want to receive an experience. So cortices, really providing that as a template for your clients, really encouraging it. And then, my question was, how do we support our clients to use it. So I say, okay, here's a podcast, here's a blog, here's a guided video. Like, how can we spoon feed this to them in a way that they will actually use it? Because as we all know, we are facing times that it's sometimes hard to do these things for ourselves, as well as, expect our clients to do them. So the more we can do it for ourselves, the more we have tools and resources to provide support for clients to do that for themselves. I think it's a win-win situation. And we all know that your clients are going to get better results if they're taking care of themselves in between sessions, and you're not the expensive aspirin that has to go back and dial in homeostasis for them. You can get to the really core, powerful work if they're coming in already with a baseline of health. And that's what Access really does for our clients. And I think that at this special time in history, and the fact that people need a way to balance themselves on a day-to-day basis and tap into the paradigm, we are better situated as an organization with the greater BodyTalk system, with the power of Access to really hit the ground as Access instructors or practitioners recommending Access. In a way that the world's ready for it now. They might not have been ready for it when John created it. Maybe they were. There's these little niches, but I think the broader world is really ready for this. So I just wanted to kind of share that that's like my passion behind, why I've created this content template and this mentorship and like guiding people back to Access and the basics, because I really believe in it. And I think it's the key to growing our system. So to wrap up our time together, I wanted to take you guys through a little exercise to just kind of experience what I call the marketing and outreach support from within. You guys into it? You want to go through a little vibey experience? Cool. So I'll invite you guys to find a comfortable seat, kind of move your body a little. If you have water, take a sip of water. And we're going to, because marketing and outreach is really about communication, we're going to use a very classic framework from journalism to kind of write a little story or imagine a little story within ourselves that brings us to a relevancy of what's going on with you and what your excellence looks like in its expression through your BodyTalk practice. Cool? So I'll invite you to find your feet on the ground, sit up in your chair, just adjust your sits bones. And if you'd like, you can close your eyes and just find some breath, find some connection, inhaling and checking in with where the mind is at. Exhaling, noticing the quality of your physical body and physical sensations. Noticing the beautiful rhythm of the in and the out breath deepening. Just softening into the internal terrain of your being. And as you settle into your body, I'm going to guide you through a link that came up, working to bring clarity and awareness to the connection of your heart and how you reach out to the world through your hands, through your work, as well as how you communicate. So as you breathe in, I invite everybody to begin tapping your cortices. Just connecting into that beautiful template of linking up the right and left hemispheres of the brain, and updating the brain's picture of the body, and helping that brain body to communication to come online. And as this cortices balancing is coming online, we're linking the cortices to the heart and its relationship to the hand chakras. As you feel yourself connecting into the cortices, breathing into the heart, feeling the connection of the expression of the heart as it opens up through the shoulders, opens up through the elbows, ultimately expanding and opening out into your hands and experiencing the connection of heart to hands as this template for reaching out from your heart. And as that awareness of this connection is deepening, inhaling and expanding through the heart, I want you to pay special attention to how the heart lifts and expands through the chest, thinking about just waking up the heart's intention around your practice. And as this link of cortices to the heart, to the hand chakras opens up, we're linking all of this to the heart energy rising up through the throat, through the fascia of the throat, through the mouth, into the tip of the tongue. Just breathing, just tapping. Heart connects to the hands. Heart connects to the throat and the tip of the tongue. And I'm going to invite you to stay in this meditative space, just allowing yourself a moment. And I'm going to ask a few questions. Just allow whatever comes up without judgment. There's this connection between the heart and the hands, your potential for reaching out through your heart and the tongue and the mouth, your communication from your heart. Who are you as a BodyTalk practitioner or instructor? What are you doing when you do BodyTalk? What is the highest expression of who you are as a BodyTalk practitioner? Where are you most effective in your work? Maybe it's a specific group of people. Maybe it's a style of practice and evolution of that practice that you want to keep honing skills on. Maybe it's a location, a place where you really connect to the work that you are doing and who you are. Why do you do BodyTalk the way you do? How do you do it? And as you deepen this connection to your heart, to your hands, how you reach out, to your communication, the mouth and the tongue, thinking about that internal conversation of who you are as a practitioner, what it is you're doing, where you're best excelling in your work. Why? Why is it the way that is the special brand of the way you do it? Asking yourself for any insights on the timing of, when should you be working? When should your office hours be? When should you teach classes? When should you reach out to clients? When should you teach classes, and the time frame of what it means to share this work in your best alignment? And just taking a few more breaths and just asking for any internal guidance on how you can best grow your business, how you can best prioritize what you're doing with BodyTalk. And if you have a piece of paper, want to take any notes, just kind of coming back into the space around you, opening your eyes, moving a little bit. Maybe one insight came up, maybe one blind spot was shown, maybe one deeper awareness of who you are was revealed. Just allowing yourself to just anchor into anything that came up. And as you're anchoring into that, I think knowing the who, what, where, why, when, and how of your authentic expression, tuning it up with your tools, with your regular body talk, with your body talk access, with your mindscape, with your matrix work. As you build that relationship to using this field of energy that we are all working within as body talk practitioners to influence and clarify that connection to what you're doing and influence the ultimate expression of your business, you'll know who your audience is and how they want to be talked to. You'll expand and polish your capacity to engage your community from your heart and reach out authentically. Be more of who you are, which means you'll attract more of what is ready to play with you in those fields. And you'll start to develop the right language, the right materials, the right ideas of communication with your clients and your potential students in mind. And from this place as a practitioner, I promise you that if you trust this refining of your own energy, your own alignment, that your client results are going to increase and your authentic experience within the expression of your business and how you reach out to those around you as a practitioner and instructor, they will take that field effect and become your best messengers and best promoters of your practice. And through the reciprocity of them sharing and you sharing authentically, it incentivizes everyone to mobilize and promote this work in an authentic way. So I invite you to, revisit this practice or connect to access and think about aligning yourself within your practice and how you can best support yourself and others through this work. And then take those insights and take that inner guidance and that full growth into you being you and doing it well and your own unique way. And if you allow that to come from within, it will always be authentic and it'll always feed you and feed those around you in a way that is the way that no one else can do it, because you are your own best internal resource of marketing and outreach. And it's different for everyone. And just like we are our own unique journeys through body talk and fingerprints, and no two sessions look the same, there's lots of things you can do externally to put that into action. But if you don't have that core alignment within yourself, anything you do, trust me, is gonna come back to bite you in the ass, or it's not gonna work. So get this dialed in first, use your tools, and that simple exercise, every time you go into business planning for yourself, find that alignment first and then see what comes forth. Use your mindscape, use your matrix work, use your own internal homeostasis to be the metronome of how you should move with your business. Thank you guys. It was so wonderful to be here together and share. I hope this was helpful and practical and useful. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to
Mauvavi.
work together as a body talk community.
Mauvavi.